And now, coming to you from the Pensado Media Center, powered by Westlake Pro.
Front of house from the distaff side, learning opportunities in Nashville and LA. You're at the place. It's Pensado's place.
Yay! Hey everybody, thanks for dropping by. Good to see you guys again. As always, I say a lot going on. This week is no exception.
Yeah, it is. Let's get to it.
All right.
Hey guys, it's great to see you, as well as great to see our strategic partners. They are 1500 or Nothing, the Blackbird Academy, Avid, Westlake Pro, Groove 3, and Fab Factory. We're glad to have them aboard as always. They make things wonderful. Two great learning opportunities for you in Nashville, the #2 school in audio, the Blackbird Academy. They've got classes, openings actually in their classes for April 9th and July 9th. And they do a couple of very cool high school camps. If you're a high school student and you want to know about that, you literally, all of you for these classes or camps, go to theblackbirdacademy.com or contact Karma at theblackbirdacademy.com. Bunch of information, you know, we swear by them. Great learning, great opportunities.
For sure.
In addition, 1500 Nothing, super hot production collective. They're opening up their sound academy, which is called the 1500 Sound Academy. They've got workshops and all kinds of things coming up. You want to know about that? Go to 1500sound.academy. Rance, their CEO, Rance Dobson, James Fauntleroy, super hot producer, won Record of the Year. Their president, lots of their friends are going to be teaching things. 1500sound.academy. Go there for all the information you need. Great opportunities for learning, and we'll keep bringing them to you. By the way, coming up very shortly is a very cool contest from IK Multimedia. This is going to be on Total Studio, and there's a couple different versions. We're going to give away both over time. Teasing you now, coming up next week, check for the IK Multimedia Total Studio contest. You're going to enjoy that.
Man, I've been using IK Multimedia stuff for a long time. This new package has got a lot of great stuff that I still use.
Cool. So in case you're wondering what distaff means, one of the meanings is of or pertaining to women. And this is a super talented audio lady. Her name's Amanda Davis. She does front of house for Janelle Monae. We talked to her a little bit ago. Enjoy this conversation. Hey,
Amanda.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Hey.
So, how many years with Janelle?
It'll be 5 in October.
No joke.
Yeah.
All over the world, all over the place?
Literally, I've been to every continent but Africa.
Is that right?
And Antarctica, but nobody wants to go there.
Did you have front of house experience before her? I mean, because she hired you or somebody recommended you or something.
Yeah,
Tell us the story.
My story is I was on a cruise ship as an audio tech before Janelle, and it was 2 weeks before I was supposed to go for my second contract. And at the time, her production manager, he's still her production manager and tour manager, Jeff Coran, was a good friend of mine. We went to high school together. And she went to her team and said, there has to be a female that does front of house. I need a female on my crew. Y'all find me her. And ironically, I had made plans to talk to Jeff on how to break into touring.
Wow.
And he called me first with that information. He was like, send me your resumes. I'm like, resume sent before I even hang up the phone.
Right.
And that's how it happened.
Did you, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say, what's interesting about what you just described are 2 points of view. One, you're on a cruise ship, so you're finding a place to work and hone your craft, which is what a lot of people understand. You don't go to school or do whatever you do and then go to the top. You work your way through.
It was 4 years.
And then you were ready when the opportunity came up.
Correct. Right.
Those are 2 points that, don't you think that's important for our audience?
Yeah, you have to be prepared.
Yeah.
People always say it's who you know, but it's on you to stay there. It's who you know to get your foot in the door, but it's on you to keep yourself in the building. So yeah, I prepare myself because on the cruise ship, you're the only audio technician.
So you had it all.
Yeah.
Live bands mostly.
Yes, it was a 10-piece band on the ship I was on.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was horns, drums, guitar, in a pit for every show.
So you're miking that stuff, mixing the stuff, the whole number.
Do you approach the live front of house work from a studio perspective? Did you go to school for studio and then morph into the live sound, or vice versa?
Yeah, I went to SAE and their curriculum is very studio based. At the time it was. Now they've enhanced it. But at the time, yes, I did start approaching my live sound mixes studio based, and I still kind of do. I still use Waves plugins and stuff like that. And it's just per situation. Really, with live sound, it's more subtractive, say EQing, than additive EQing that you do in the studio. But yeah, some things work that you could do in the studio, but some things don't. It's just trial and error.
Describe for those people that, if you have small children, I'd ask, you want to get them to leave the room right now. Describe life on tour. It's brutal for a front of house engineer. Brutal.
It can be.
You have to get there before everybody. You leave after everybody. You get off a plane. Your ears are popping. You go straight to the venue. It's horrible.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I try not to fly a day of show. If I absolutely have to, then I just
give me a typical day.
Well, on tour, you load in, which depends on the time, but it could be from 10 a.m. or 12. You load in. So load in, you allot at least 4 to 5 hours just to load in everything, place everything on the stage.
You're there to inspect the stuff and see what you've got to work with?
Well, on tour, you're traveling with everything except for PA on this level of touring that I do. We travel with everything, whole audio package, back line, everything.
So that comes in through the door.
We come in, we bring it in, build stage, mic everything up, pin the stage. I listen to the room and tune the room to how I need it to sound, and then we do a sound check for a couple hours.
And you tune the room using software?
I play songs from Spotify. I forget the website, but I found a list of great songs to tune a room to. And then I also just songs that I know what they're supposed to sound like, and depending on what artist I'm working with. So I wouldn't tune the room the same as I would for Janelle than when I'm with Tegan and Sarah.
Right.
You don't use that old school way? You just turn the volume of the PA up? Don't laugh.
Is that the old school way?
Yeah, that's what I used to do when I did live sound. You turn the volume up. The feedback that starts is a frequency that's bad, so you pull that down, then you push the PA up more, cure that feedback. When you get 2 or 3 feedbacks, you just quit, and that's just your tuning.
I do that once I do tune my room, like the PA, how it needed to sound. I'll have the monitor engineer come and walk the stage with the mic, the main mic. And because especially with Janelle, she's all over the stage. So I need to make sure if she gets in front of the PA, it's not going to ring back. So yeah, just let it ring out and pull out the frequencies.
So during the show, are you having to ride things because she moves around so much, or are you pretty much set?
I'm pretty much, with Janelle, I'm pretty much set.
Okay.
It's been a while since we've had shows because she's been doing her own thing. So now I'll probably have to figure that out. But yeah, I'm pretty much set. I pretty much know where her voice sits and what microphones will ring out where or whatever. So
to the extent, a great question, Herb. Do you during sound check pre-mix the song, and then during the live show you hit your preset for song 1, preset for song 2, preset for song 3, or do you just wing it each
I don't use snapshots. I'm thinking about doing that in the future.
Okay.
But I haven't been using snapshots. I like to just mix and see what happens. I'm confident in me and how I've tuned the room.
But those first 4 bars are brutal. I mean, brutal.
Well, that's what sound check is for. You know, you sound check, and then the last song of sound check is the first song of the show.
Okay.
So you get it set.
Oh, okay. So the last song of sound check is the first song of the show, so you're set, don't have to change.
Right. So when a downbeat hits,
you know,
boom,
you're there.
Open show.
Do you ever play venues? This used to happen to me, where I was the opening act and the main act would sabotage me.
I don't do that to people. No.
Have you had it done to you?
No.
Wow.
Things
Different
change.
world, I guess. It was cutthroat in my time.
Is there a danger with technology that a front of house person can get just comfortable depending on the technology and take themselves out of it? See, I like what you said earlier, is that you want to hear the room, and you know when certain songs sound correct in the room. You're engaging yourself in it instead of letting ones and twos and digital stuff tell you information. You have to stay involved personally a little bit.
Yeah, you have to take ownership of the show and then your mix. Because I like to think of myself as, say it's a 9-piece band, I'm the 10th member. Because everything, it's my job to complete everything and bring it all together, like conductor. Or, you know, like you have to make sure that you're engaged in that sense so you don't like disconnect, because the audience just, they're there to like have a party and, you know, but if it doesn't sound right, or if they can't hear the vocalist or anything else, then that's on me. And then you're diminishing their experience.
How close to the record do you try to get? Like a well-known famous artist who dances a lot and sings old songs? You go to his concert and you get the record. I prefer concerts where I get something different from the record. What's your feeling on that?
It depends on the artist. Some artists will say, I want my show to sound just like the record. For the most part, that hasn't happened to me. They, well, with Tegan and Sarah, they're like, do your thing, we trust you. With Janelle, it's kind of a stay close to the record, but like the live version of the record.
Artists, and we're not talking about any artist in particular, but an artist that stays close to the record, do you have to trigger loops and parts that can't be played live, or
well, there's already playback going on anyway. Okay. So you will have a band and then a playback tech that's giving us tracks, 6 to 10 channels.
What do those usually consist of?
Drum loops, keyboard sounds, guitars, background vocals, effects, certain effects.
And is he with you in front of house, or is he in the wings?
No, he's in the wings.
He's in the wings, right? Yep. That's what I thought.
Your profession is pretty loud. How do you take care of your hearing? How do you take care of your ears? Do you have anything special that you do?
Whenever I go anywhere, a bar or another show, I have dB reducers that I take with me all the time.
Gotcha. It's your livelihood, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
I gotta protect my ears.
Let's switch reels for a second. The audio business and the music business, good, bad, or indifferent, is male dominated, and certainly the touring business is.
Yes.
There are things you learn, things that you. What's it like for a female in that kind of male-dominated business? What do you learn? How does somebody learning or wanting to be in it, should they be aware of anything?
They should. It's gotten better. It really has. Even in the short time I've been with Janelle, I would walk in a venue and I've walked in with the rest of the crew and the locals are like, "Oh, where's your sound guy?"
Right.
And it's like,
right. They're like, huh?
But even with that, it's, you know, with live sound and with concert production, you've advanced the show. So you've been talking to these people for weeks and months in advance.
Gotcha.
So for me to walk in and you still say, "Where's your sound guy?"
Right.
We've been communicating. You know, like that's just think.
Right. Unless there's a guy named Amanda.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
You laugh like Mary J. Blige.
Do I?
Yeah. That's cool.
That's a first.
That's cool.
Now, one of the other discussions we had when we first met, which we'll get to in a second, was you'd much rather do front of house than mix monitors.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And that's because artists can be so demanding.
I don't want to deal with all that.
Yeah, all that. You don't need all that. Turn me up.
No. And then, too, mainly, I feel like at front of house you can be more creative. In the very essence of the word create. In monitors, you have to be creative, but creative in figuring out how to appease each individual on the stage, right?
Yeah.
But at front of house, you can be creative. Like I do a lot of delay throws and stuff like that. But in monitor world, you gotta
can't do that. And in monitor world, are most people now inner ears? Are there wedges and stage?
Yeah, most people are in ears. With Tegan and Sarah, it was no wedges, no side fills on stage.
Whatsoever.
They were all on ears.
Monitors. That gives me the willies or whatever you call it, the goosebumps. I hated monitors. The band can't hear the front of house, so you can do whatever the hell you want. I once was doing a major band, and I'm not a front of house person at all, but I just lucked into it. And I just felt like there needed to be a drop in a certain part of the song, so I just muted all the instruments on stage. Yeah, I got fired that night, but I thought the drop was good. the audience liked
Why
it.
he's in the studio?
I was creative.
No.
Education was really kind of your ticket in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got yourself prepared, then you had personal relationships because you were prepared. So education an important thing for people?
Yes.
Okay. But a certain kind.
Yeah, certain kind. Well, when I first met with Janelle and her producers, they saw that I had a degree in vocal performance, and that kind of stuck out to them because they knew musically it was a good fit because of my musical background, my music education.
Right.
And then after that I went to audio school after getting my vocal performance degree because I just didn't want to sing anymore, but I still wanted to do music. And so I went to SAE, and I didn't know anything about audio. I just put in the time and was there every day figuring out a compressor, what. Didn't know what that meant, but because of that, it did afford me so many opportunities. And when I first got my first live sound gig, I was like, oh, I'll just use what I learned in school on how to approach these things. But if I didn't have that education, I wouldn't have known what to do when I got that church gig.
No foundation.
Yeah.
Right. Got it.
Do front of house engineers have heroes, like mix engineers like myself? I have a lot of heroes in the mix space. Who are some that are your heroes?
Is this guy, he mixes Frankie Beverly and Maze. He's mixed them for like 30, the entire their career, Tim Kidwell. A friend now, Kyle Hamilton is a hero of mine. Chris, I can't think of his last name, but he mixes Bruno now. I went to his show, Bruno's show in Atlanta. It sounded insane.
Wow.
But yeah, there's a few guys I can think of right now.
Are there other females as well?
Well, I know female monitor engineers. Carrie Kais, she's the founder of soundgirls.org and who has really been helpful for me and like did one of my first profiles. She's been Pearl Jam's monitor engineer for the last 30 years.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Also, I have a good friend, Annalise Coulee. She's J-Lo's monitor engineer. So yeah, and we worked together on Tegan and Sarah. We toured. She was monitors and I was front house.
That is so interesting. The software choices that are available to you, are there tons of things that can help you in your job?
Yeah, actually, Annalise just told me about Tracks Live because I multi-track shows. This last Tegan and Sarah tour we did, it was the anniversary of one of their biggest albums, The Con, and they wanted to multi-track. So I used Tracks Live. At first I was using Logic, but I think something was wrong with my laptop because it kept crashing. But yeah, I've used Logic, Tracks Live. What's another software? Those are the main two that I've really used.
Are you using a digital board?
Yes.
What board are you using? S6?
I've used the S6. Mainly I use a Profile or a CL5 with Janelle. Been on Digicode, SD10s. The smaller the S3, I actually toured with that in Europe at Tegan and Sarah. Yeah, it looks like a little lighting console, but
it's mostly just faders, really.
It's all faders. But I just switched banks and Waves plugins really helped me with it.
That's cool.
Is there a particular headphone that you tend to use in your life, or not much at all?
You mean just listening to music?
Just what your taste is in gears.
No, I just use my iPhone headphones because I don't want to like.
But you do use headphones live sometimes, right?
Yeah, I use Sennheiser's HP. I think there's 130, 150, something like that.
When we met, we were at the 1500 Sound Academy, right? You're friends with Rance and those guys. Give me your take on what they're doing and where they're going.
They are. It's blowing my mind. Like when we were talking, Rance showed me the blueprint. Like, it looks like Paisley Park, but for it to be an educational setting, I wish I had that when I was younger. Because I went to SAE at like 23.
Right.
Didn't know anything about it. So what they're doing over there is quite amazing, and what they're going to offer to just the next generation. and the way they're offering it is not like gonna be the typical educational setting, which I think kind of deters people from going to school or whatever, because they don't want to sit in a classroom or who's going to be teaching or things like that, and it's gonna be cool to go. It's like we're going to hang out as opposed to going to school. That's the vibe of it is what I appreciate it more, because I know the education thing is going to be done because Rance is passionate about
He's
it.
committed to it, and the idea, because I believe, tell me if you agree, or both of you actually, I believe that if you can give offerings that allow people to leave quicker and get to their stuff and deal with it, whether, you can learn software in 8 hours and then be able to go do something. Because if not, you'd have to buy it, and you have to do the research yourself and study yourself. So be able to do that. Or sometimes it's classes about things, studio etiquette or other kinds of things that you can literally go say, oh, that's what pros do, and it's applicable. And I think it keeps you interested in coming back. Yeah. As opposed to, I got 9 months or 6 months of theory, and I can't get the studio.
That was one thing I did appreciate about SAE's curriculum. You had class like in the morning or in the evening, whichever you chose. But after 3 hours of class, the studios were open to you. You could go and try or apply what you just learned in class, or figure it out and push through it. Yeah.
One of the things I like about the 1500 or nothing model is I've never met a teacher at a school that wasn't passionate and really wanted to be there and really wanted to teach. Some schools have an emphasis on the student leaving as a parody of the teacher, and then some schools you leave as being the best yourself you can be. And like in the art and painting world, a lot of teachers will make you leave painting the way they paint, And 1500, the Academy is about teaching you to be the best you can be with your skill set, with your taste, with your passions, with your ambitions. And I think that in itself is worth the entry, because not everybody wants to be everything.
I know,
and so you get coached to do things your way, but in a way that's going to have value to the world,
Yeah, that's kind of what deterred me from the classical world, being in school for voice and learning to be an opera singer. It was, you have to sing it this way, or you can't do a grace note from the bottom note up. You have to do it from the top down. I'm like, I just want to sing. Like what? I mean, is the world gonna end because I did a grace note that way? And it was just like, oh, just give me my degree and get me out of here, because I can't. You're confining an artist, and you really have to love classical music to really like hone in on that type of thing. And I was just like, no, not for me.
Do you use any of that discipline in your work now?
I do, and that's what helped me become the teacher at SAE. I taught music theory, and I used all the education from Roosevelt on teaching music theory. And being a singer first, that's how I approach my mixes. I don't think technically, or I think like a musician. I think singers are musicians. Their instrument is their voice. Right. So it really helps inform my mix and how I approach things.
So we do this thing called Batter's Box. It'll be fun. See, the good news is there's really no right answer. There's just your answer. It's kind of like the way you were talking about the teaching. Yeah. So you can just be full on Amanda, whatever it is. So it's kind of one-word questions and 1 or 2 word answers. And again, whatever you think off the top of your head. You ready? Come on. I'm already proud of you.
I got her scared, Herb. I got her scared.
All right. Fire away.
Okay. Desk or console?
Console.
Compressors?
CLA 76, the bluey. Yeah. Like that.
Plugins?
The R compressor, R verb, my go-tos.
She's good, Herb. I think she practiced. Room acoustics?
You say what?
Room acoustics.
Most rooms suck.
Good answer.
Monitors?
Not me.
Leakage?
Depends.
Yeah, depends on.
Well, I was doing the brand of.
We're not talking depends. We're talking like keeping the drums out of the microphone.
I know. I was adding humor.
Venues?
The Fillmore in Charlotte. So one of my
The
favorite.
Fillmore in New York?
No, in Charlotte.
Charlotte, North
Oh, in
Carolina.
Charlotte? I didn't know there was a Fillmore in Charlotte. Wow. Reverb.
Arverb. Either one of the vocal plate.
Line arrays.
DMV.
Okay, I got no more. If the venue caught fire and you couldn't rescue small children or anything, what one piece of your gear would you rescue?
My laptop.
That's important.
What's on
gear.
it? What do you keep on it that you need so much?
I'm recording the shows,
Oh, through the laptop.
so I need that.
That's
It is a
pretty
new
important.
world. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Pretty important. Absolutely.
What do you ever, like, when you're tuning a room, you don't use any equipment? You just do it by ear?
Sometimes I have a lake processor,
Okay.
and there's a tablet where you can pull out frequencies or do whatever you need to do that processes the PA.
But don't they have nowadays, like you can look up the settings for a particular venue? Like you can go somewhere and they have a list of all the venues in America and you can look up a
Yeah,
setting?
you can look up the specs, but of course you won't know until you
it's
hear
full.
it.
You're in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting.
It's always been important to Dave and I that we show all sides of the people who are doing audio, and oftentimes the female side is not represented as much as it should be. So this was great. You're also a woman of color, which is also great.
Yeah,
And
I
you're
was
also
looking at that.
What's that?
Your list of episodes don't have too many women.
Yeah, that's sometimes it's tough to find.
Yeah.
It's not from trying. We try hard.
But we're proud of what you're doing. You know, it's great to see excellence holding up excellence. So don't be a stranger. Come back. You know, we do a lot of live events. You'd be great on some panels if you want to do that.
I'm totally down.
We'd love to have you. So you've met Amanda Davis, and Dave, you take us home.
Okay. Don't want to get too serious with you right now, but Amanda represents the best of the best, and to look at her any other way is an insult to her and an insult to the profession itself. There's a lot more we can do. We all know we can. And let's get with it. Let's do it. See you next week.